Do you love love? Of course you do. Caleb Love knocked out Duke in the 2022 Final Four with North Carolina, looking to replicate the result on his new squad. Arizona in this year's Sweet 16. Blue Devils looking to reach back-to-back Elite Eights. Cooper Flagg doing work. The super freshman spins mid-range. Oh, so smooth. Duke up by 3. Ensuing Arizona possession. Love getting buckets. Sinks the 3, tied at 42. Love with 14 in the first half. Final 5 seconds of the first half. Loose ball. Given to Flagg for 3. Got it. Beats the first half buzz. Duke into the half up 6. Flagg with the season-high 18 points in the first half. Early second. Flagg. No look to Sion James. Bottom of your screen, bottom of the net. Oh, yeah. Another look at the no look. Duke by 12. Less than a minute later, Flagg to Kaman Malawach. Go get it, young fella. Duke up by 11. Minute later, Flagg, loose ball. Another lob to Malawach. Watch this. Duke up 15. Flagg doing it all. That's why he's the projected #1 overall pick in the upcoming NBA draft. Mid-second, Flagg one dribble. 3 ball. Knock it down. Duke by 15, led by as many as 19. Here comes Arizona. Here comes Caleb Love to the bucket. Wildcats down 10. Love up to 31. Scored the last 15 for the Wildcats. 6 minutes to go. Down 11. Jaden Bradley to Henry Vasar. Dunks it down. Arizona within single digits. The young Wildcat fan loves it. Come back, come back. KJ Lewis. Layup swatted out of bounds by Flagg. Get it out. One of 3 blocks on the night for Flagg. Ensuing Wildcats possession. Love dunks it down. 35 points. Most points in an NCAA tournament game in Arizona history. They cut the deficit to 5, but ensuing Duke possession. Flagg to James. My name is Sion James, and I get buckets. Duke up 10. That was the last made field goal by Duke in the final 4 minutes. They'd ice the game at the line, 100-93. Flagg pours in 30 points, 6 rebounds, 7 assists. First player with a 36-7 game in a tournament game since Mookie Blaylock in 1989. Mookie! Duke advances to the Elite Eight for the 3rd time in the last 4 seasons. Duke 11-0 all-time in the NCAA tournament in the state of New Jersey. They love New Jersey. And Arizona now 1-6 in the last 7 games against 1 seeds in the Big Dance. Duke on to the Elite Eight.
Well, Cooper, this was such a fight. I mean, a 2-possession game at the half and then a 2-possession game with 2 minutes to go. How did you withstand the resiliency of this Arizona team?
Absolutely. I mean, we knew coming into it was going to be an absolute battle. I mean, they could just compete really, really hard. So just about staying with strong faces and just doing what we do. Your
stat line was so impressive. Not the points, not just the rebounds, but the efficiency, #1, and #2, the way you involve your teammates. How do you slow the game down to be able to make the perfect and right decision every time?
I mean, I don't really know, to be honest. I mean, I think it just comes naturally of just having a feel for the game, reading how the defense is guarding on each possession, and just trying to make the right play.
We're looking forward to Saturday. Thanks so much, Cooper.
Thank you.
Up next for Cooper Flagg and Duke, taking on Alabama in the Elite Eight on Saturday. The first ever NCAA tournament meeting between the 2 schools. Blue Devils, however, 8-1 all-time against the Tide. And consider Duke is 11-0 all-time in the NCAA tournament in the state of New Jersey. Looking to get to 12-0 and get to San Antonio. Back here in studio, we are 4 wide. Hakeem Dermish here with Adam Finkelstein, Hunter Dickinson, Tim Doyle. Hunter, you saw this game and how Duke dominated early. They had enough of a lead to absorb that run by Arizona. What did you see from the Blue Devils here, led by Cooper Flagg's 30?
Yeah, Cooper Flagg's 30. I mean, he only had 30, 6 and 7. Tim kind of mentioned it, where he's just going to have a complete game. He really dominated the game, but I think James was the X factor, you know, scoring 16 points, going 3 of 4 from 3. You know, Adam mentioned it before. Their starters really carried them tonight. They had the majority, the bulk of the points, and I think that was huge for Duke, where, you know, I think Shire might have lied. He said he wanted to slow down the game. I think he might have lied to us. He did not slow it down at all. It was a very fast-paced game.
Were you concerned about the fact they didn't make a field goal over the final 4 minutes?
No, I'm more impressed that Arizona could have easily just waved the white towel. Like, Duke shot 60% from the field. They were 11 of 19 from 3. Cooper was getting in the lane. Like, they could have just been like, oh, something like this is going to be. They scored 100 points.
Yep.
But Caleb Love, before the game, we all touched upon it. If Arizona was going to be competitive, he had to be north of 25. Well, he was that, and I think Tommy Lloyd's squad could like leave this game holding their head extremely high. They showed a ton of fight. They went out, they guarded Proctor. He was outstanding from three coming into this game. They limited him to only one made three-pointer. So the scouting report was really good. Hunter was right. Like, you had to pick your poison, and they were like, oh, James makes some shots, we're going to be in trouble. He made some shots, and obviously they were in trouble. I thought this is a well-played game. Duke's for real.
Duke is for real because there were a couple of key things we said Arizona had to do to have a chance to win this game. Caleb Love needed to go off. He had 35 points. He was plus 50% from the field, and he had 0 turnovers. They needed to increase the tempo with this game. They scored 93 points, and they still lost. That's how good Duke is. Duke's, what have we been talking about all night? The national championship contenders have to be able to win games in different ways. We've been talking about Duke as a defensive team. Guess what? They're a heck of an offensive team, too. They just dropped 100 on Arizona and did it with a brilliant offensive effort across the board.
Tim, 2 teams scored 100 points tonight. Duke and Alabama. They're clashing in the Elite Eight for a spot to get to San Antonio. How do these 2 teams stack up?
Well, the way Alabama shot the ball tonight, they were going to beat anybody in college basketball. I mean, it was one of the greatest shooting performances, forget about in the history of the tournament, just in the history of college basketball altogether.
60%.
You know, so they scored 75 points from the three-point line. It doesn't even sound real. So is that going to be hard to replicate? Probably. Is it going to be even harder to do against Duke? More than likely so. But, you know, it's going to be fun to watch. I know this is a game that, Hunter, is not going to be played in the 60s. This is a game that you're going to go out there and make shots and have to score. I like Duke, but Alabama, they're going to need to have another miraculous shooting game.
Yeah, I agree. I think, you know, this will be a very fast-paced game, but I think Duke will be able to give Alabama a little bit more trouble, especially defensively, than BYU did. I think because of, you know, you got guys like Cooper Flagg who are so versatile defensively. I think that'll be a big advantage for Duke because they'll be able to switch a little bit more, and I think that'll help kind of try to limit Alabama's three-point shooting a little bit.
How is this game going to be won?
By controlling the tempo. And Duke's going to have to do a better job of that on Saturday than they did tonight. They allowed Arizona to get going in the open floor. If they let Alabama get going in the open floor, they're going to be at risk of losing this game. And this is what makes Duke's defense so good. They are exceptionally switchable. And that forces other teams to play a lot of ISO basketball. Alabama can fall into that trap. And when the ball stops moving, those threes don't go down with the same level of regularity. So that is the path for Duke to get to San Antonio in a Final Four.
Who are you like in this spot, Tim?
I mean, I had Duke coming out of this region, so I'm going to pick them in this game. I'm just curious, can you do this again? I mean, because it looked like every time Holloway shot the ball, Sears shot the ball, it was going in. You know, was that just a freak game? More than likely it was, but can they repeat it again? The pace is going to be fun. I just love that we're playing basketball where it's no longer guys stepping in taking charges. It's no longer that, like, grind-out affair. It's fun to watch. Guys are making plays, and this is going to be a really exciting game. I think it's impossible to pick against Duke.
Hunter, you're one of the few teams to beat Duke this season. You beat Duke earlier in the year with Kansas. How do you beat Duke if you're Alabama?
Yeah, I think it'll be interesting to see, you know, when the game gets tight. You saw it today, you know, there was a couple freshman mistakes that Duke made, you know, a couple, you know, hook and holds and stuff like that. Obviously, Bradley for Arizona had one, but I think, you know, Duke might have gotten away with a hook and hold. I think plays like that, you know, might cost them, especially when the game is super close. So I think, you know, that's something to look out for. But like Tim said, I think we got to see, you know, is Alabama able to capable of, you know, having that shooting night 2 nights in a row? I think that'll be something to see if they can duplicate that when they play.
How difficult is that for Mark Sears to be able to replicate? I'm not going to ask for 10 threes from him, but if you get 6,
Adam, besides making threes, how do they win this?
Duke made 58% of their threes tonight, too. So let's just start here. Neither one of these teams is going to shoot like they did tonight on Saturday. So let's just start there. It would, you know, it's going to be very difficult for either team to match it. So it's how else do you win if you don't get hot and make all your shots? I think that's what it's going to come down to. But to Tim's point, what's great about this is you have two of the best teams in college basketball. These are the big games that everybody wants to see. And this is the flip side to Cinderella not winning on the first week, is now we get the biggest teams in college basketball, the biggest players in college basketball, and it's going to be terrific theater.
1 versus 2 in the East region. That game, Duke and Alabama, set for Saturday night on TBS. That is set to be an absolute thriller. And you know that Duke owns Alabama in basketball, 8-1 all time, and they're set for the showdown on Saturday night. Show me the region, show me the bracket. Here it is. Duke and Alabama 1 versus 2 for a spot in the Final Four in San Antonio again Saturday night on TBS. And of course, you can rely on us, full highlights and analysis when that game goes final here on CBS Sports HQ. And we are on to Newark, New Jersey at the Rock, Providence, the Prudential Center. Matt Norlander going from Providence to Newark. He's just all over. It's where in the world is Matt Norlander? Well, there he is in Newark. Matt, your takeaways from Duke's win, because they couldn't buy a field goal late, but they're able to ice it down the stretch at the free throw line.
Yes, the takeaways on the Duke end of it, I was able to talk with Shire one-on-one after, and it's not the most glamorous of quotes here, but he said the team had been mentally prepared and steady and ready for a fight like this. He actually went back, Duke dominated in the ACC, but he said, listen, we did have moments this season. We were down at the half at Louisville. North Carolina gave us a big push. We faced some adversity with a loss against Kansas, and those moments really showed up for us here when Arizona made a big push. But quite clearly, Cooper Flagg is the story on the Duke side of it. 30 points, 7 assists, 6 boards, 3 blocks. He puts up a stat line across the board that is basically unprecedented and truly unprecedented for a freshman. He's just incredible. And the wonder of it all with Cooper Flagg is he just does not seem to emote with his teammates he emotes on the court when a big play happens, but he doesn't have a lot to say about how great he is, which makes him even more fascinating to me. But this, you could make the case, was the best game of his career. Extremely well timed. Arizona gave a good push. It was an awesome environment here. Duke gets it done, and so for the second straight season, it will play in the Elite Eight.
On to the Elite Eight to take on Alabama, and the two teams that scored 100 points on that court right there. You saw Alabama score 113. You see Duke score 100 points. Their 22nd win this season when you talk about 20 points this season for Cooper Flagg. Look, this is going to be a fantastic matchup there in Newark. Alabama and Duke 1 versus 2. How do they stack up?
Well, Alabama just, had a record-setting night, of course, and I asked Nate Oates afterward, does he think that, there's a chance some of this can transfer over? They're going to do their absolute best. Alabama's good enough to beat Duke. Unquestionably, they've got the three-point arsenal, the highest-scoring team in the country. How do they match up? Well, Alabama does have some size down low. It does have some shooting. It has the guard play as well. And Duke has been, a tremendous team this season, the most talented team in the sport. We got a really good look at, Con Knippel played well again tonight. Duke even won in spite of some foul trouble overall. It should be an incredible matchup. We get a 1 versus 2. Bama's got the offense to do it. I wrote about it tonight at CBSSports.com. They can win a national title, and they don't even need to be a team that makes 25 threes to do it. This just happened to be a record-setting performance. So it's going to be incredible theater. It could well be a game in which the winning team needs to get to 90 points. I can't wait to be in the building on Saturday night back here courtside to watch it play out. It should be awesome. I gotta tag it one real quick thing here, Hakeem, with Caleb Love, though. I was able to speak with him one-on-one and Tommy Lloyd one-on-one, and I gotta say he was super impressive in defeat. He kind of has a unique career. He knocked out Duke in the Final Four in Coach K's career. Goes for 35 on this stage tonight, leaves it all out there. And Tommy Lloyd told me afterwards, few players that I've ever been around have given me as much joy or have been as rewarding to coach as Caleb Love. And it was extremely impressive to see him on the floor and then to see Caleb Love reflecting on his career in the locker room after the game.
Heck of a run by Arizona, comes up short. They lose by 7 to Duke, 193. I mean, look, they scored 93 points and they still lost. I mean, that's tough. Duke outlasts them in the end. It is Alabama and Duke for a spot in the Final Four. Matt Norlander from Newark, New Jersey. Matt, appreciate it. Get yourself some sleep now. That guy never sleeps. He's just working college basketball. It's the time of the year. He's working. He's on the podcast. Join Matt Norlander, Gary Parrish on the Eye on College Basketball podcast. covering all the big storylines in the big dance. It's the Eye on College Basketball podcast. Download and follow today.